Welcome to this video, From Accommodation to Belonging, Advancing Accessibility and Human Rights Literacy Through Classroom Community Action, presented by Dr. Yomi-Odedeyi. This workshop is structured to move us from understanding the theoretical shift of reactive accommodation to proactive belonging, to defining concrete steps for action in your classrooms. Our agenda covers a welcome, objectives, unveiling data on gaps and barriers, storytelling and group analysis, and ends with action planning and commitments. When the world is defined by conflict and structural injustice, the classroom must become a site of collective resistance and sanctuary. Exclusion is a global language, but community is our resistance. Structural exclusion is not abstract. It is a lived, historical experience that demands a moral response to prevent its replication in our schools. This quick video, The $100 Race, powerfully encapsulates the difference between equality and true systemic equity by visually demonstrating that starting points are unequal due to systemic design. Exclusion is a design flaw in the system, not a deficit in the child. We must look beneath individual struggles to the unexamined curriculum, rigid scheduling, and single-format tests that act as micro-betrayals. We must shift the baseline from reactive accommodation, which focuses on the student's deficit, to proactive belonging, which focuses on maximum community resilience and fixing the exclusionary design. Action 1 is universal design thinking as equity-centered design. This shifts the burden from the student to the environment, prioritizing dignity and agency from the outset. To fix the design flaw, we must audit attitudinal, physical, and curricular barriers. Many exclusionary practices are invisible until intentionally targeted. We will now perform a mini-audit. Identify one attitudinal barrier and one curricular barrier in your current environment to begin dismantling it. Action 2 is mobilizing student agency and advocacy. Projects like accessibility mapping and inclusive design fairs allow students to become experts on their environment and advocate for dignity. Action 3 is co-creating belonging action plans. We move from a reactive accommodation request to a proactive classroom policy, transforming abstract law into daily practice. Drafting the belonging checklist involves translating principles of equal participation into concrete daily, weekly, and unit-level routines, embedding dignity into design before students encounter the material. The audit, student agency, and action plans form a single, continuous methodology for building a sanctuary. This is a unified architecture of resistance. The enduring work is framed by 3 critical commitments: refuse simplification, uphold dignity, and insist on integrity. Commit to implementing one action from your belonging action plan this week. Thank you for your engagement and the deep work you have done today. Our discussion centered on moving from reactive accommodation to proactive belonging, an act of collective resistance and community. As we conclude, consider this central question: how does making your classroom radically accessible translate into an act of dignity and resistance for your most marginalized students? Here are some critical questions for further reflection. The first concerns investigating routine systems that might act as curricular or attitudinal barriers in your school. We must also consider how to measure the systemic impact of student-led accessibility projects and the philosophical difference between, quote, compliance and belonging. Finally, reflect on immediate changes you can make to embed dignity in your assignment design. Consider how your curriculum acknowledges global trauma and the balance of empowering students without overwhelming them with systemic responsibility.